Hello everyone and welcome to this video, which is in our Crazy Leela series and our Leela Odd series. I'm Grandmaster Matthew Sadler and we've got more games for you from Leela's Queen Odd games with fantastic tactics for you to guess at. So we start with this position. Leela's done pretty well, got a rook back for the queen, and the black king's a little bit squeezed somehow because of the pawn on h6 there. The standard, alpha zero pawn on h6 that's proving so effective. Black decided to play the move queen d5 just to challenge the e file with the rook, which is a decent idea. But how did Leela exploit it? Well, by using that pawn on h6, of course. Normally it's with a queen that you try and mate with. Here, the bishop's going to do the job. And once again, this cramping of the black king with a pawn on h6 long term just causes black all sorts of problems. If I'm not convincing you about that pawn on h6, I never will with these videos. So this was another game. Quite a strong player playing, and black's doing all right. I mean, it's still a queen up. Pieces are a bit rough and ropey, but still surviving. Was surviving until black decided to go walkies with king c6. How did white finish that off? It's check and checkmate. Not quite sure what came over black there really with king c6 to b5, but but anyway, Leela made short shrift of black after that. Let me have a look. Where was this? Oh yes, of course it was this one. So this was the position, and you've got to say that white doesn't have that much material left. My goodness me. Quite surprising that Leela's able to weave a mating net here. I mean, actually, Leela sort of offered a draw by repetition, I guess. I think if black had gone king h6, then Leela would have played knight g4. A draw would have been fine. But black was obviously thinking about more than that. Now, to be honest, just trying to give back plenty of material in this way would have been very, very sensible for black. But black had the sense of adventure and played king h4. After all, how on earth can white possibly make a mate with this few pieces? Well, we'll just bring you closer to what Leela did. Gave a check, gave another check, gave a check. Once again, I mean, black should really be thinking about playing queen f6, but black was very, very stubborn here and played the move king f3. And now actually it's a draw. In actual fact, this position, amazingly enough. First of all, how did Leela continue with the play there? Bear in mind basically that you've got to be able to play knight g4 check at some stage. That's quite important. So yeah, I mean, the key thing is, are you going to check really with a bishop on g2 or an e2? But on g2 you cover the e4 square, so that's why it's kind of nicer. And there's all sorts of draws here now. If you go something like king e2, I'll go bishop c6, and then I'll just check on h1, you know, and that's absolutely fine. Black played the move king e3, which is quite adventurous. Leela gave the check on g4, and now king d3. So the king's sort of bouncing around there, and actually there's just a draw here. Bishop f1 check, king e4, and then how does white make the draw? Well, you just keep on checking actually. Oops, not rook e2 check. You go bishop g2 check, king d3, bishop f1, king e4. Yeah, the king's just got those two squares, and you keep on checking. But Leela wouldn't be Leela if Leela took the draw. So Leela started the game a queen down, has a chance for a draw by repetition against a 2700 player on Lichess, and plays rook e2. And black whipped out king f3. And how did Leela respond? Well, there's the move. Knight h2 check. And that is checkmate. So backward knight's move, always hard to spot. Knight is attacking the king on f3. Bishop on e5, covering f4 and g3. The rook covering the ranks and the files. So black lost. By the way that black could have survived with a winning position actually was to go knight e3, check and king f5. But this is still a little bit worrying for black. Black still has to find a couple of good moves, but it's fine. Black is just absolutely winning in this position. But yeah, I don't know. I guess it would be hard to find really after having avoided all sorts of other ways of giving up material earlier. Black probably wasn't going to be thinking about giving up material now. But this is an absolutely gorgeous mate. Really nice. Incredible efficiency to be able to make a mate with just 3 pieces. Incredible. 4 pieces, sorry. Let's have a look. Yeah, so this was a player who's played a lot of games against Leela. Well, a piece has gone. Looks like a bishop on g7 has gone. Black probably a little bit depressed. Should have really protected himself a bit more, but kind of opened himself up even more here and played f takes g4. And yeah, Leela took on e5. Yeah, black's best would be to put the king on g8, but black decided to run with the king on e8. Only black did not run that far. How did Leela win? Not difficult, and there's 2 ways even of doing it. You've got knight g7, and you've also got knight f6 as well. Black just ran straight into one of these typical mates. So yeah, I don't think Leela. I think whatever you do, I think Leela will get you. But yeah, this was obviously pretty quick. This was quite a nice little thing, really. I mean, the position's a total mess. I mean, black's king open in the centre, but black's got quite some counterplay somehow. Yeah, I mean, knight b3, knight c4 coming in, so there's danger for black here. And but Leela decided to play the move c6, which opens up a nice little attack of the bishop. So the bishop is able to come to c5 now. And also actually we're also threatening rook d7 check, which is rather unpleasant. So black took on c6, and now bishop c5 check happened. And yeah, I mean, black's got to do the normal thing, which is somehow give back material. And the very best way to do it is not obvious actually, but it's to play the move knight d6, and after takes you move into the pin. But there's no good discovered attack, and the king can sort of come to c8. You'll give up more material if you have to, but you're going to end up probably with a queen for a rook extra. But not at all easy to see this with the clock ticking. Even if you've got some small increments or whatever. Black played the move king e6 in this position. Didn't want to give up material, but how did Leela finish this off? The mate is rather gorgeous actually. It's knight g5, double check, king f6 and bishop d4. And the key thing is the knight's covering f7, the bishop's covering g6 and f5, and it's check, and the rook is cutting off the e file. So black's completely lost there. There's a little twin there as well, because if you go king f7, there's a force mate here as well. So I don't know whether you can spot this one. It's not, yeah. It's not 100% obvious. Yeah, it's knight g5 check, takes and rook d7. And if you come to f6, I've got bishop d4 check again, the same mate. And after king g8, it emerges that my bishop is covering h7, so you can't get up. And after bishop f8, I've got rook f8, because that bishop on c5 is playing a starring role over on the king side. Really nice play from Leela there. Yeah, this is one where very strong player, 2800, has lost the queen, but sort of thinking, well, maybe you can survive. So black bravely puts the king in the centre, and how did Leela respond? Turns out that grinding is not such a matter of patience. Just knight c5, checkmate, and the king is in a lot of trouble. It was probably, it wasn't a great position to hold, really. White's got quite nice position there, but obviously this is a little bit extreme somehow. Yeah, this is another one. The player who's played a lot against Leela seems to pick up to end up with a lot of material a lot of times, but sometimes just overdoing it a bit. Leela went knight f6 in this position, and to be honest, you can sack pretty much anything, and you'll sort of be okay, queen takes c1 is definitely interesting as well, for example. But black decided to keep all his material. Ha, Leela, what can you do to me? Well, your chance to show what Leela can do against him. Yeah, the king is just totally cut off here, and if you could get a knight to d7, that would be awesome, but the bishop's covering it. But can we distract that bishop on f5? We most certainly can with knight h7. The big problem is that rook h7 allows rook g8 checkmate, and after bishop takes h7, Leela finished the job with knight d7 checkmate. Rook covering the g file, rook covering the e file, pawn f7, stopping black. In fact, even if the pawn wasn't on f7, king f7, rook g7 would be checkmate. So, yeah. Leela's mating with material to spare. This was a rather evil one. Obviously, Leela's done pretty well here. Just rook and bishop versus queen, but it's not really clear that you're going to be able to win in any way. Leela gave a little checkaroonie, and black really should have come back and just accepted this, and the engines don't see anything better than just taking a draw here. I'm sure Leela would have tried, but yeah, black's pretty solid. But black played king b6, didn't want to give away the b pawn, and now things are getting a little bit scary. Can you find the scary move somehow? It's not winning, but it's definitely scary for black. Yeah, the scary move is bishop d6. What are we threatening? We're threatening bishop c5 checkmate. Actually, black's really got to watch out how to get out of this. Play the move king a7 with the idea that bishop c5 check can be met by b6. But Leela threw in a little bishop b8 check. Now you've got a choice of two moves. Which should you play as black? Well, I'm sure that black probably thought, well, both are drawn, so it doesn't really matter which one I play. King a8 looks a little bit odd, but is actually the best move. Check king a7. There's no way you can really, you just don't have enough firepower to be able to checkmate the black king. But after king b6, what did Leela play here? There's a rather vicious, incredibly vicious, I have to say, tactic here. Yeah, the tactic is rook d8, and there is no stopping rook d6. Well, you can play queen takes f4 check, but apart from that, there's no sensible way to stop rook d6 checkmate, and that's what happened in the game. King queen b1, I think black probably missed it, and then rook d6, and the bishop on b8 covering a7 and c7, and Leela, of course, ensuring that there are lots of black pieces around to block the black king. Really lovely one, that one. It just came as a total shock to me, I have to say, when I saw it. Really lovely. This is a tragedy here. Black, well, black hasn't done great somehow. Queen for two rooks and got a knight somehow, but all the pawns on the same side. But you're thinking, well, I'm not going to lose this. I can press a little bit. Let me just weaken up the king's side, and then we'll see what we can do. But how did Leela reply to this weakening attempt? Yep, you've got to watch out with Leela. Rook b3 pins the queen to the king. So white's just going to be the exchange up. Black could try and resist a little bit, but I think black had yeah, black had had enough and resigned there. Yeah, this is another one of these where, you know, it's pretty clear black's been outplayed, but he did start with a queen up, so, you know, it's not 100% clear. There is a problem, though, for black, namely that white's already got a piece back, and this bishop on g7 is in trouble, just threatening to take it. So how are you going to get out of that? I mean, the engines don't think that the black's really any better here. Maybe a little bit, but not really very much. But black decided to play the move f5 just to open up the line of the rook and cover the bishop on g7. How did Leela respond? Yeah, you've got to watch out with Leela. Every move you make is fraught with danger. And rook h8 check is the typical tactic. Bishop takes h8, only move. And rook g8 checkmate. Once again, rook on e7, blocking the king from escaping. Lovely little finish there from Leela. So this is another one of those positions where you look at it and you think, well, I just don't know how black can possibly be in any danger here. I mean, black's got 2 pawns for the piece, an extra queen as well. And I mean, the rooks are pretty much clustered around the king. Surely nothing can go wrong here. Well, I mean, black was a little bit careless maybe. Played the move h4, and Leela sort of forked him a little bit. Chased the queen away and then took on h4. Okay, you know, but you can still play h5, and you know, you've got your queen in a nice position there now actually. So c4 breaking up the queen side will be good, yeah. But black maybe panicked a little bit, played the move rook e7, and obviously overlooked that rook h7 check was possible. And now there is one move that draws for black, and one move that loses. And well, it's not obvious which one is which, I can tell you. I mean, black's best here is to go king g8, and after rook e7, rook g2, you're getting some counterplay. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, I'd definitely bet on Leela to make something of this with the black king on the back rank like that. But black played the move king f8, and now actually white is basically, yeah, forced win. So have a look at it, see how it goes. It's rook takes f6 check, king e8. Got to stay with the rook, otherwise if you lose the rook, I mean, you're obviously in big trouble. We give a little check, nudge a bit more, give a little check. Obviously rook e8, I've just got rook e8 with checkmate. So you lose your rook, and it's even worse than that. King f6, I've got, well, rook b8 checkmate, or rook f6. And king d6, I go rook d7 check and pick up the queen. So that was that. Another sure win turned into a loss there. Just, yeah, you just don't quite understand how somehow. Yeah, this one was something quite special. I mean, black is actually a yeah, quite a bit of material up here. So what is that? A rook and a piece, but obviously got a few problems in terms of freedom, and the big problem is that the king is tied down to the f7 pawn, so you can't just run with the king somehow. But yeah, there's also this little idea of bishop g4, which is quite nasty. I mean, d6 was best, you know, essentially opening up the line to cover the f5 square in some areas, but obviously it's a bit uncomfortable somehow. Black played the move bishop b8. Quite sure why. Maybe just looking to go bishop e5, take the pawn in f6. And yeah, white played the move c5, which was just an idea to take control of the d6 square so that the king can't get away. And that makes bishop g4 and rook f5 ideas much more dangerous now. Yeah, this is already, you know, getting quite desperate. Black's best, amazingly enough. I'm not quite sure why actually. Oh, he has to go bishop f4 check takes and d6 so that you can meet bishop g4 with king e5, attacking the rook on f4. But if it's getting that complicated, then, you know, I mean, obviously it's quite tricky. But black, for some reason, played the move king e5 here. Not quite sure what he was thinking of there. And bishop takes f7 happened. And it's not only a little bit serious. So we're attacking the rook. We've got some passed pawns. But how did white finish off the game here? Well, Leela's just sort of surrounded the king from all sides, and now rook f5 check is checkmate. And I've got to say, that's one of the saddest positioning of pieces at the end of the game that I've seen somehow. You think black started up with an extra queen. It's really quite incredible. 31 moves you're reduced to this somehow. Oh, this one's a sneaky one. So black's not doing badly. Well, rook up still. Lost the queen, but rook up, and kind of, it's, you know, the white position's got a little bit shattered and all that. White just attacked the knight, and black took the bishop on f1. I mean, there is a discovered check, of course, but you're threatening you'll take the bishop on h2 somehow, so, you know, think you've got that covered. But what had Leela seen a little further? Well, I mean, taking the bishop is fine, but yeah, you can't do it if it's double check. And this is what it was. Knight c6, double check. Everything's covered. a7, a8, c8, and of course the h2 b8 diagonal. So that was checkmate, and black had to give up. Yeah, this is a funny one, very typical, again, of Leela, where Leela's been doing everything. Some things have been lost along the way, like the queen side and other stuff, but you're still attacking somehow. Black decided that development was important, played bishop b7. And how did Leela reply in this position? Rooks are overrated, aren't they? G takes h5 was Leela's move. So just in case you haven't seen it, what's the reply to G takes h5 here? Well, rook g1 is very, very strong here with some knight e6 check discovered attack. Going to be very, very painful for black. But what if black takes the rook? Surely isn't white running out of firepower? Not likely. h6. That's what's happening. Very typical setup with white. And you don't run out of firepower when you can queen a pawn. So that was the finish of the game. Really nice. And a rook sacrificed that late in the game after having first given queen odds. Incredible. And now the final example here. Yeah, I mean, black's obviously a little bit worried about things. Trying to run with a king somehow away from the ravage that's the king side. And Leela played the move bishop d7, which is really evil, just covering the e8 square and also threatening e6, just nudging the king back. I mean, black's got, yeah, some ways to resist, but also many ways to go wrong. And, well, you know, for a human player to play a move like d takes c5 is completely natural somehow, yeah? Get rid of that e6 threat and hope to get rid of the bishop later. And you're a queen up, right? I mean, what can white do to you? Well, what did Leela do to its opponent? Yeah, it's mate in 3 in actual fact. So knight g5 check. Obviously king g7, there's rook h7 checkmate. And f takes g5, we give the same rook check, king there. And then bishop g5, and it's checkmate. Once again, Leela's pieces combining beautifully there to deliver a final glorious mate. So there we are. I mean, these are pretty incredible, right? Just all done with queen odds against really strong players, you know, some 2800 bullet players, you know, just incredible really with queen odds. Yeah, so that was the video. I've got quite a few more left, so do bear with me. I hope you're enjoying these and learning from them. Do give a like and subscribe if you're enjoying them, and hope to see you at the next video. Thanks for watching.